Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. Welcome back, long-time listeners. Welcome back, Shades.
Welcome back, Sketch.
Guys, every time you join us in our GOCO in a different corner of the Geeking Out multiverse. And boy, howdy, Shades. You know, we could go anywhere.
Anywhere in time, space, dimension,
properties,
genre, reality.
And we find ourselves in these types of locations a little too often.
Quite often.
Shades,
more often than I would care to be.
Why don't you tell our fine LTLs where we are set up this time?
Longtime listeners, we are in a nondescript location in the Warner Brothers backlot, a landfill heap where discarded, failed DC properties go to decompose.
Pipes just get flushed. Things end up
Content
here.
gets churned up and shredded.
Yep. And
Academy Award winning actors go to die.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's unfortunate I have to say this. That doesn't narrow it down tremendously.
It doesn't. What could we be? Are we talking about Green Lantern?
Could be.
Are we talking about Batman versus Superman?
Oh, could be.
Are we talking about, any number of things? Are we talking about the 1997 Justice League series?
So if we're talking about the 1997 Justice League, that's not this episode. This episode is dedicated to our beloved Catwoman.
Yes.
Specifically, the 2004 Halle Berry
Halle Berry headlined Halle Berry and Benjamin Bratt and Sharon Stone's in it
too. Movie, we'll call it a movie.
The 2004 Razzie Award winning Best Actress, Best Picture, or worst performance by an actor, worst picture.
Yeah, the Razzies. So if you win those,
you lost.
So we're talking Catwoman. Do we have a theme song?
I believe we do, Sketch.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Perfect. That was actually, a lot of times we assign songs. That was the opening song to Catwoman. We know you didn't see it. No, I'm just kidding.
If there was an opening theme to Catwoman, I have no recollection of it.
I mean, it should have been the Pussycat Dolls. Were they around in?
Oh, they might have already
come and gone.
They might have already come and gone. I mean, some of the dolls continue to do stuff and appear.
I'm trying to think of another cat themed. Cat Stevens, could he have done something?
Sure.
Cat Stevens, where were you?
He doesn't write. I don't think he puts cats in the lyrics to his songs.
Cats in songs.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. I just assumed with a name like that.
We could have done the theme to SWAT Cats.
Could have done
Remember
that.
SWAT Cats?
I don't.
They were one of the many cash in on Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
It was
never a good sign when we go off topic so soon in an episode. But listen, I'll bite the bullet for this one. I wanted to do Catwoman. All right.
You did.
Nobody requested this.
Nope.
This is on me.
And I will, for the record, I had gone 18 years.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, 14 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had gone 14 years without seeing this movie.
Okay.
Wait.
2004.
2004. Close to 20 years.
To 20 years.
I had gone 18 years. I had it right the first time.
Yeah.
Without seeing this movie.
Okay. Good
job. I was proud of myself.
Yeah, that's great. You fell off the wagon.
Not because I'm not going to support it, but I missed it when it came out.
Yeah.
And then I just never got around to watching it. And this movie is so thoroughly maligned. I was like, well, there's no need to watch it.
Yeah.
I've never heard a Catwoman apologist. I've never met someone that's like, yeah, most people didn't like it, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've never run into that person.
But you're about to be that person.
I'm most definitely not
You
that
are
person.
wearing your torn up leather. Okay,
assless chaps.
Hot take right off the bat.
And
off the bat.
The costume?
She looked so much cooler when she had the full leather.
The heist outfit, right? Yeah. When she goes and does the heist.
She looks so much cooler.
Yeah, perfect. That outfit was perfect.
And
then from there,
tore it up. I guess that's
I don't know if she ripped it up or like
Cats
sewed
tear
a new
things.
one, or it was. I mean, the choices in this movie.
There were choices. You could not see this movie and say to yourself, "Well, you know what? That was pretty blah." No one really brought their A game or their B game. Everyone was just cashing in. No, people were swinging.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't zone out, but I misheard where you were going there. I was going to be like, whoa, wait a minute. People brought their A game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's bonkers.
Yeah. No one just coasted along in this movie. But guys, we're going to get there. All right. So you kind of started your history.
My history. So I had never seen this.
Yeah.
I missed it. I don't remember having any strong feelings about it.
Yeah.
The one thing I knew about it is that Halle Berry was not playing Selena Kyle.
Yeah.
That was the one thing I knew. And I remember being like, that's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't you do that?
And now you know.
And that seemed bizarre to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was not clamoring to see it, but this is in an age where I was just going to movies and seeing them all the time.
Yeah.
And so.
But yet this one.
I missed this one. Because I was going to the movies so often.
Yeah.
It just never
came back.
Never came back for me.
Okay.
And I knew that Halle Berry won and appeared in person to accept her Razzie Award.
Yeah. She took it on the chin.
She did. And
good on you.
She has also never really gone back to superhero movies.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Because she was also Storm in the X-Men movies.
Oh, she was.
She was. And this kind
At
of
the same era.
Yes, exactly. This movie came out between X-Men.
God, she was Storm.
Yeah. X-Men 2, X-Men United, and X-Men 3: The Last Stand.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot she was in it.
And everyone was like, yeah, like, oh, DC, she's Storm and Catwoman, and then it was like, oh, yeah. And then X-Men: The Last Stand came, and she was clearly filming both because just her appearance in X-Men: The Last Stand, clearly filming at the same time. And it's just unfortunate that her role was in that final installment was so diminished as a result. See what happens moving forward.
I remember that one the least. Last Stand.
I remember we were trying to find it to watch after someone's wedding.
Oh,
we were like, oh, now what do we do? I never saw X-Men: The Last Stand. Want to watch that? And we couldn't find a copy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Good times.
All right, my history is very similar to yours as Catwoman.
Your history sketch?
Did not see in the theaters. We've talked about I think we talked about in the Harley Quinn episode that I've always been more Harley Quinn, and I believe you've always been more Catwoman. Aren't you more Catwoman? Or are you more Poison Ivy?
That's tough. I definitely lean Catwoman and Poison Ivy over Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
In terms of my villainesses.
Yeah.
Or just villains.
Yeah.
Femme fatales.
Sure.
I do like a femme fatale. I'll say that. Like over just. I don't really consider Harley Quinn a femme fatale. Poison Ivy, Catwoman are like femme fatales.
Okay, now you're gonna have to define a femme fatale.
Well, I just think there's like an element of like a misdirect.
Oh, sure.
Or
okay.
like some. There's usually like a seduction that goes along with it. And that's not really Harley Quinn.
That's a Catwoman though.
Yeah.
So I was never like Catwoman was never my big thing.
Yeah, I guess in that rogues gallery of Catwoman.
So this came and went. I remember hearing, oh, it's not that good.
Yeah.
I knew about the Razzies, stuff like that. And then, we started this podcast and it was always just a curiosity of mine. Like How
How
bad
bad could it be?
could it be? Is it just bad because it's like a superhero movie and like those are normally shit on? Or is it exceptional? And I got my answer. And then longtime listeners, let's pull
It is exceptional.
Let's pull back the curtain for a second. We were going to do this one a while ago. And I prepared for it.
This was slated to come out in our. We ran out of time, and we batch our episodes. We've talked about that before. This was in the same session that we recorded Terminator, Home Alone, Congo.
Yeah, but we didn't get to it. Had to put it on the back burner.
Yes.
And life,
in that time,
and then life happened. Things happened. Things get in the way. And then so now we're back, and I decided, God damn it, I feel like I need to refresh myself on Catwoman. Now, for starters,
I felt so much pressure to watch. When you said that to me, I was like, oh, I should rewatch it too. And I like queued it up, and the sick feeling instantly returned to me. I was like, and I looked at my notes and said, I don't need to do this.
Getting like a hairball.
I don't need to do this.
To be fair, I put it on and did something else. And
I sat down.
That was
I sat down with my popcorn.
Way.
And I was like, all right, here I go. And I didn't even get through the opening sequence.
The first time I watched it, guys, I'm a professional, and I gave it my full attention.
Yes.
On my rewatch, I was like, okay, I got it. I feel the need to do it for the pod, but I also have a responsibility to my own health. And I have to cut this with something else. I have to be doing something else at the same time. I'm not going to use the word enjoyable, but it was easier to get through.
What was the other thing that you were doing?
Gaming. Playing video games.
So you weren't paying attention to it at all.
I was listening to it. I was listening to it.
Sure you were.
And then, there were some scenes that like the heist. The heist, like her first
heist,
time.
That heist sequence is probably the pinnacle of the movie.
So like when that happened,
it happens in the first act. That's the conclusion of the first act.
It's her first outing as Catwoman.
That is. She wakes up after that
with all the jewels,
and then she has to go to the school, and
right,
and the basketball game follows that. So that's what I consider the end of the first act.
I thought the basketball game was before that. I don't remember.
I thought it was after the heist.
Guys, I watched this like 3 days ago, and
I thought it was after the heist.
The crazy thing is, I'm basing my memory on her hair, because by the time she's doing the hair, she's got the short hair.
The short haircut.
I don't remember. All right. Do you have history of this movie?
I do.
Before I say anything else embarrassing.
Catwoman was originally conceived as a spin-off from 1992's Batman Returns, developed alongside Batman Forever in 1993. Michelle Pfeiffer was cast to reprise her role, and Tim Burton was attached to direct, with writers Dennis Denovi and Daniel Waters. And they were the writers of Batman Returns.
Okay.
Burton was unsure if he wanted to stay in the Bat universe. And when Waters turned in the script for Catwoman on the same day Batman Forever was released, Burton made his exit, opting to direct The Fall of the House of Usher instead.
I don't know what that is.
So
that's cool.
Batman Forever was produced by Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And is still part of the Burtonverse. With the aesthetic, but Joel Schumacher directed that one.
Oh, okay.
That was Schumacher's first outing, and when he saw the edited movie of Batman Forever, he was like, "I'm out."
This script of this Catwoman must have changed so much since.
I would imagine, but I don't know. I couldn't figure that out.
Yeah. Well, no one could. Don't worry. No one working on it could figure it out.
Michelle Pfeiffer maintained interest through 1995, but also explained in interviews that she had commitments to other projects.
Sure.
So she agreed to this in 1992. She was cast in 93, and then a full 2 years go by without anything happening. Her priorities were as a mother at the time.
Sure.
And the other commitments that she would make. So in 1997, she gets herself out of the contract.
Yeah, she's nope.
Yeah, she's out. The script sat in development hell until 2001. when Ashley Judd was attached to play the title role.
Okay.
Ashley Judd, I think, had just come off of Double Jeopardy.
Okay.
Which was like
more of an action.
It was like more of an
thing?
action cerebral thriller, and she plays kind of like a badass in that. So they're like, oh, maybe she can do it.
Yeah.
Signed on, is attached, but she eventually dropped out as well. She was replaced with Nicole Kidman, who read the script and passed.
That was a great delivery. I give you kudos on that one.
Thank you. When Warner Brothers canceled Batman versus Superman in 2003, it was scheduled for a 2004 release. They fast-tracked Catwoman with Halle Berry attached after her movie Jinx, a Bond spinoff, was canceled.
Oh, so she was a I forgot she was a Bond girl in one of the Bond movies.
And she was like one of the only Bond girls of that era to not die and not just be a one-dimensional character. So she was like highly praised for her role in that.
There's been a lot of Bond talk this session.
This session, yeah. So she had an opening in her schedule.
Yeah.
The studio had an opening in their schedule.
Stars aligned.
And
they desperately needed something.
And she signed on.
Yeah.
And
she committed.
And she committed to it. The movie was directed by French film editor who just goes by one name, Pitoff. This is one of 3 directorial credits to Pitoff.
Okay.
This is the only feature film.
Okay. That means the others are shorts?
Television, shorts, documentaries, if memory serves.
Pitoff.
Yeah. And he had full creative control over the movie.
All right.
The musical score.
Okay.
And costume design.
I guess he's the one we have to ask the question about the torn up leather.
How much do you think it cost?
$82 million.
Good guess.
Thank you.
$100 million.
Hey.
And at $100 million, we're starting to approach like Avengers money.
Yeah, no, you can tell watching it, there was money put into this.
That's a huge budget for a movie that was sat in development hell and then
was like pumped out. Like, we need this.
Like that.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. How much do you think it grossed? This is hilarious, longtime listeners.
40 million.
Try again.
50 million?
Try one more time.
Am I going in the right direction?
Yes.
Okay. 60 million.
I'm going to give it to you because you already said the number 82 million. That was your guess for how much it cost.
Oh, I just got mixed up in my head.
Yeah.
I got it right the first time.
So it cost 100 million. It grossed 82 million.
Well, as you can tell from my guesses, it made more than I thought it did.
It did. But
not a win.
I mean, and we talked about this earlier. Like, I love these. It shows you that like it doesn't matter how much money you spend on something. Money does not a better movie make.
No, it does not.
And the best elements of these movies were the practically shot, low budget elements to a T. I will come right out and say that the best elements of the movie were the practical effects.
Okay.
And the practical, like that first heist.
First heist was great.
So good. Well, and everything that follows is
the first heist is very good in this movie.
Yes. Compared to everything else that follows.
Yeah. Or comes before.
Yes. And I think that speaks to Pitoff's skill with shorts.
Pitoff's. Let's just, guys, the rest of this episode is just all about Pitoff.
And I mean, I take no pleasure in like throwing this epic failure at Pitoff's feet.
Okay.
But
here you go.
It's objectively bad.
It's just
objectively bad. It's like know what you're good at and lean into it.
I have raves because I felt like I should there's some things I should celebrate.
I tried to find some things.
Yeah, I tried to find some things. So I have a couple things.
I have a legitimate rave.
Yeah.
One. The all important internet scores. IMDb gives this movie a 3.4. Rotten Tomatoes critic score was a 9. I think that may be the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score.
Okay.
on the site.
I was about to be shocked that you were going to say something in the 90s. The way you started, like, Rotten Tomatoes, 9. Hard stop. Okay.
My deliveries.
I should have expected that it was going to.
The fan score is an 18.
Wow, a double.
Yeah.
Doubled the critic score.
Metacritic gave it a 27, fan score 28. 61% of Google reviewers like this movie.
That's low for Google.
But that's shockingly high, too. Yeah. And I gave this movie a whopping 20.
That's pretty good. I gave it a 30.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched it twice. It had some things in it that I was like, okay.
So I originally gave it a 10.
Okay.
I felt that was too harsh.
It's harsh because people are trying.
People tried.
People are trying.
Went back and gave it 10 pity points.
Like, I would not say, I know, I don't mean to always do this. But you know how, like, a lot of times our benchmark of, like, okay, that was bad.
Right.
Is like Ghostbusters Answer the Call. I feel
Rogue
like
One.
This movie tried harder. You know, the people in this movie were trying harder. I agree.
And I would say this movie tried harder than Rogue One, which I've been very critical of. And that's a hot take, long-time listeners. Write in. Let me know why you disagree with that. But I don't think Rogue One tried very hard. I think it rested on the fact that it was Star Wars. And that's really all you got to do these days to get people in seats. To get people in seats, yeah. The X-Wing battles were excellent in that movie, but over story construction, I think they tried harder in Catwoman for story construction than they did in Rogue One. You might not agree with me on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't come out and say I agree, but I can't say I disagree.
On previous properties to build that story, and this literally had maybe 30 minutes of screen time and backstory in a movie from 1992 to pull from.
I will say,
because clearly no one had read a Catwoman comic with which to base this on. They were going 100% from the Catwoman story in Batman Returns, which is that, like, just visual. Selena Kyle is pushed out of a building.
Yeah,
she falls to her presumed death.
Yep,
a bunch of stray cats. Start eating her.
Too many cats.
And then she, like, gets up.
Multiple times in my notes there are too many cats.
There are too many cats.
The hot take, guys, I am actually allergic to cats. And
are you really?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is a bad time to roll out our official GOCO kitten.
Yeah, no, I legitimately I legitimately am.
Oh, this is awkward.
And this movie was this was triggering some things.
Gotcha.
For me. I'm just not a cat guy. So, like, thank goodness.
I'm not a cat guy, but I'm a Catwoman guy.
That's a shirt.
There's the shirt for this episode. I'm a Catwoman guy.
But like, you know how maybe you don't have the same feeling that I have, but, like, you know how when you, like, see too many of a specific animal, it starts to get unsettling?
Yep.
Like, what? Not where I lived before, where I live now, but the place where I lived beforehand. And this is going to make me sound like the biggest wimp in the world. When I lived down by the water.
By the water. Okay, yeah.
There were so many rabbits. That when you would go walking, like, at night, they're just rabbits, and they freeze and they stare at you.
That happens here.
And
they just stare.
It gets to a point where when there's so many of one creature,
it's like they think you're a T-Rex. If they don't move, you won't see them. And it's just like,
yeah. Now,
which one of us is going to move?
I will admit, for a rabbit, the number is much larger, and admittedly, for a cat, I need fewer cats to feel uncomfortable.
But we get what you're talking about.
We crossed that line in this movie. So many cats.
The crazy professor that just, like,
she has so many
there's
cats.
No way she could have afforded that place on a professor's salary. I don't care, like, what it is. It was basically, like,
that was the one thing in this
library.
movie that I could not believe.
That was
everything
house?
else I was 100% on.
Really? Okay.
All of the dumpster cats that show up.
Oh my god, so many cats.
Too many cats.
Here's the question: what happened to all those cats when they were done with this movie?
I don't know. Where do Hollywood cats go? I don't know.
I think there's also an adjacent landfill.
Oh no, for cats.
Discarded cats.
That's.
I think I saw James Gordon in there somewhere.
Was he in Cats?
He was.
So he didn't know which of
He
these
played the
landfills to
rum
land
tum
in.
tugger.
I guess we could have done a song from Cats as the,
And that would.
but I don't even know them. Yeah, we were nice and subtle with What's New Pussycat.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I think a very smart thing they did. This isn't a rave. I'm just saying a smart thing that it's not Selena Kyle. I appreciate the fact that this is a new character's story and that we're trying something new. I'll appreciate that.
Sure.
I would have given it a lower score if this was Selena Kyle and we were like, hey, let's just rework stuff.
Yeah.
And like, look at all this. This is fun. But it also exists in a world with Selena Kyle because Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman photo is one of the Catwoman photos in the Catwoman's thing she like throws on Halle Berry.
She has a book of all the
Catwomen. All through.
She knows them all by name throughout history.
There's like always a Catwoman.
Nefertiti, Joan of Arc.
Yeah, like
Selena Kyle.
Anyone.
Like any fierce woman from history was a Catwoman.
Yeah, she had like a cat motif and this mystical
connection to the cat.
Connection to the cat.
Like the cat
goddess. Bast. Yeah. So Halle Berry is just one of many Catwomen. And there's like a whole I don't want to say it's like a motto because it wasn't really a motto, but that lady seemed to like know exactly like, all right, here's how it's gonna go for you now. Like this is your life now that you're a Catwoman. Yeah. And I will say the movie became surprisingly more palatable on my second watch, in quotes.
I don't think you can call it a watch.
When I made the connection that I've already shared with you that like, oh, this isn't a Catwoman movie, this is a Spider-Man movie,
right?
With dressing on it.
Yeah. Then
I was like, oh, some of these decisions make more sense to me,
right,
than trying to tell a Catwoman story.
Right.
Now that does not solve everything.
It brings up so many more questions.
But at least I was like, oh, okay, I get more now why she has like legitimate cat powers.
Yes.
Like, because she does. She has like legitimate cat powers.
She has cat powers,
in this movie. Which I think on my first time around, I was like, oh.
Cat powers.
They have cat powers now. Okay.
Didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah.
You get bitten by a cat.
In this movie, you get breathed into by a cat.
Sure.
But you have to die first.
You have to die first, and the cat breathes into you, and you have cat powers. But I mean, it's... when you said that to me, it was like such an aha moment that this is a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, how did I not see that?
Yeah, but it's not a good Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. No, but it follows all of the mechanics of... and all of the beats of that first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie that came out in 2001
or two.
Two?
Yeah.
I want to say two.
So it's right off the heels of that.
Yeah.
And then it made more sense to me because I was like, oh, okay, we're not trying to do something in the Bat universe with like a Bat character.
Right.
We're like trying to like start a DC version of Spider-Man. I mean, let me just get Dick Grayson. But that, that's neither here nor there.
That won't make money. Nobody wants to say
no one wants
about
to
Nightwing.
See Dick Grayson. Come on. All right, let's get into raves.
Okay. I only have two raves.
Well, now I only have two because I already talked about how they put Michelle Pfeiffer's picture in there, and that was a nice little Easter egg. So I was like,
one of your raves?
Yeah, I was trying to find some good things.
Oh my god!
I was like, oh, that's
you
a nice.
Like, I found raves.
That's a nice touch.
That's a rant for me.
They had to print it out.
That's a rant for me.
Oh, you don't like that Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman?
Well, that it acknowledges the existence of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, but then also does something completely different. It tries to retcon Michelle Pfeiffer's character and progress in that story.
The good news is it doesn't
succeed.
It doesn't succeed, and it really doesn't try to do it that hard.
No, it's like, oh, she was a Catwoman.
Yeah.
No, she has trauma from almost being murdered.
Maybe she has that.
She doesn't have cat powers.
Maybe the old
She's
cat
insane.
lady. Maybe the old cat lady has that photo. Would it have fixed the rant for you?
How did the old lady even get the photo?
She took the headshots. She takes the headshots.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Well, what if she had that photo, but it was like circled maniacally in like red marker with like potential Catwoman ? like she was like researching her and like, oh, did I miss one? Is this somebody?
You know what? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have made it better rather than
Petoff. I just fixed your movie.
She's just a Catwoman.
I fixed it, Petoff.
My first rave is that this movie is bonkers.
It's bonkers.
It is off the wall, makes no sense, bonkers. And because it's objectively bad, but because it swings so wildly and makes so little sense, it is beyond mildly. It is just entertaining to sit there and watch and just laugh and say, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And there's no answer to that. And if you just let yourself, after a certain point of just like, wow, that's messed up, like you just stop caring.
Yeah.
And then you just objectively watch the things that are happening as like she descends into this. Is this the Patience Phillips? Thank you. Patience Phillips.
She's like got descends... the PP like Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly. Like clearly, I don't know how I didn't put that together, but I didn't. It just becomes more outlandish, more extreme, and it is just objectively funny if you stop trying to make sense of it and just like.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
If you just like look at it, it's surface value and don't try and read anything into it. It is like a Marx Brothers-esque level of funny.
Yeah, we're talking about something that we've already penned on this podcast. We're talking about the murder monkey laser cutting scene in Congo. When I was like, "Oh, okay, yes. I get it now." Now
#murderate.
Now who cares? Now let's just slice up a bunch of monkeys, and that's like what happened. This movie is that.
It is that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. So it is a like it ceases to be bad after a certain point and just becomes funny.
Yeah, and
because you stop taking it, you can't take it seriously anymore.
I would imagine,
and then it becomes really fun.
Yeah, and especially like if you can watch it with someone, like this would have been a fun one to watch together.
Yeah,
and we didn't.
MST3K.
We each watched it alone, silently in a room with
crying, crying.
But. Yeah, I could absolutely see that being an experience. Yeah. All right, I'll take a rave.
Great.
I got two here, and neither are particularly that good, but they got to count for 10% of my score. So, okay, you actually probably are going to disagree with both my raves, but I do like that they created for a different character. And again, if you can separate this from like the DC universe. If you can, I know you can't, but if you could,
I can.
I like this like mythos.
I try
of like the cat warrior throughout history. There's always a cat warrior. I like how they line that up and they tried to make like all these little connections and tie it to Egypt and Bast and all this stuff. I like that. And then the fact that you try this out for the first time with not Selena Kyle. Okay, I'll go with you.
And I would agree with that, but there's already a character in the DCU that is that character.
Yeah.
And it's Tigress.
Yeah.
From Wonder Woman. And this would have been a great opportunity for a Tigress vehicle.
Absolutely.
Who is a cat.
But they, and we've seen this happen so many times, where like, oh, people out there don't know this character. So we just have to get a name that people know Catwoman.
Right.
So
maybe it had been since 1992.
Now people really know Catwoman.
Now people really know Catwoman.
So, but yeah, I agree. Oh, make it a different character.
I think this movie was so poorly received that it got Catwoman's ongoing series canceled at the time. I would have to double check that, but there was a Catwoman series that ended in 2000.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
2005.
Selena Kyle?
Yes.
Interesting.
And she didn't get another one until like 2011.
Wow. I didn't even know there was another one. Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Catwoman has to be one of the most recognizable Bat characters.
The most. The second most, I would say.
Even over the Joker?
Third most.
Okay, yeah. She's up there.
Batman, the Joker, Catwoman. I would say, are the three most recognizable.
And then for us, Dick
Grayson.
You can't discount him. He's in it.
Many people do.
A lot of people do. Too many people do.
Too many.
Okay, do you have a rave?
I do. This is a real one. Halle Berry commits
She does.
She commits to the physicality of the role,
Mhm.
the personas, and the Jekyll and Hyde of it.
Mhm.
She goes all in, and
She
her
does.
performance is fantastic. Unfortunately, the script is so goddamn awful that it's comical.
Yeah.
Like the way she like the the cat walking
Okay.
is, I mean,
We'll get there.
oh my goodness.
We'll get there.
So most of this movie, like when we see Catwoman, is from the rooftops of
Mhm.
a like faux Paris.
Yeah.
Like-
It's nondescript city.
It's nondescript city. We don't know where it's taking place. It has like a European feel to it, but it's never said. It
He
always
tossed
feel to
fingerprints all
me
over
that
this.
it's like a not Paris.
Yeah.
Like the rooftops of,
The big beauty.
yeah.
The big beauty.
Um,
that's like everyone in the city cares about what the big beauty things are popping out. Yeah.
But rather than like, you know, skulking in shadows or like,
No, she doesn't do that.
or, you know, climbing up building sides, she catwalk
Yeah, she catwalks.
runway.
Yeah.
Catwalk runway walks on the ledges of the buildings in front of the silhouette of a full, or silhouetted by the full moon
Mhm.
at all hours.
Yeah.
Every, like, I don't know how many days pass, at least 3, let's say conservatively a week.
Sure.
Always like silhouetted by the full moon.
Yeah.
Now that just doesn't work from a astrological sense.
It doesn't.
But sure. And
that's my one problem with this movie is that it didn't match up astrologically.
Catwalk runway
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
On the ledges.
Yeah.
Always.
Always. It's the way she
Even-
gets from point A to point
Even
B.
when not on a like sticking in, locking the legs,
Oh, I know.
a runway walk.
Yeah. Do you think they did it for the pun?
Catwalk.
Catwalk?
I mean, I don't know why they did it.
There were a lot of cat choices in this.
I question the choice.
Okay. Well, let me say a rave that is
But you know, not to get away from, but the Jekyll and Hyde of the two characters,
Yeah.
you can easily believe that she is playing two different characters
Oh, yeah.
until essentially Patience is murdered.
Yeah.
By the Catwoman persona.
she is murdered. A rave for me.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the catwalk.
Are you going to explain what a rave is for you? Objective, like
No.
to this movie.
No, a
or
rave
just
in this
raves
movie
in-
because this is going to sound counter what you just said.
Cool.
But I loved the catwalk. That's not true. It was over the top. But I shouldn't even say love. But when she was moving around
Acting like a cat.
as a cat, not acting like a cat.
Oh.
I made a very clear delineation here
Gotcha.
between behaviors, because we'll get there in a later segment. But like the movements, and I none of it was really Halle Berry because it was the very obvious CG'd parts
Yes.
when she was like jumping from like, you know, building to building or
when the CG work of like, you believed they looked at cats
Yes.
and captured.
Yes.
It was almost like they captured a cat,
an
how
actual
a cat
cat.
lands.
Yeah.
And like leaps
Yes.
and jumps.
and I liked that. I
Yes.
was like, and you know what? I was also more like in thinking of this as like a pseudo Spider-Man.
Right.
Like, all right, these movements make more sense than like Peter Parker, like
The way he swings.
The way
is
he
not
swings is
really,
not very spidery.
Spiders don't really swing. They
or
drop.
do a lot of acrobatics and
Yeah.
things like that. But you know, we accept it because
Sure.
we love Peter. But like in this one, if you're gonna go with you're gonna get these cat powers and you're gonna move like a cat, well then like make it believable.
Right.
And when she was moving from place to place and doing all these leaps and pounces and things like that, I was like, they got it.
You got it.
They got the cat.
Great.
That's all I got for raves. And I agree with you. I think Halle Berry is basically what redeems this movie in any capacity.
And Sharon Stone is also excellent in this movie, but her performance at times, there isn't a lot for her to do.
There is not a lot
her
for her.
story is not well developed.
No, she's very poorly written.
And I think Sharon Stone did way more with what she got.
Yeah.
like did way more than what was on the page for her.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. Is that character?
No.
Okay. There's not like a character who gets like
nope
invulnerable from beauty cream.
No.
Do you remember the scene in this movie? Because it's been a while now since you've seen it, where she is like slathering it on all, and she's supposed to be like a beauty care expert.
Yes.
And it's more than suntan lotion.
Yes.
At this point. She is like frosting a cake on her neck with this.
Yes.
That was
Bayoline.
A choice, right? Is it Bayoline?
Baby, I believe.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen the movie, this beauty company, don't see it. This beauty company is putting out this new like skin cream.
Okay, so
gonna, like take off years of your
her
appearance.
husband.
Yeah.
Is the like science.
He's like the president. He's the CEO,
and she was their top model.
Like their sole top model for like 20 years.
And she has been using the product.
Yeah.
But she's old now.
She's older.
And he has moved on to a new model.
In both business and
products.
And personal.
Product and personal, yes. And she's just and Sharon Stone is just waiting for the news to come that she's been replaced by the head of the company.
Yeah. Well, they do in the movie they replace her.
Yeah.
Which, again, who am I to poke holes? But if you are
felt pretty real world.
But also, it's poor marketing, because if you're marketing a cream or a serum or something that keeps you looking young, why not go with an older woman who looks so young instead of just getting a younger
fresh
model
face? Yeah.
It was a poor marketing decision, and one of the only faults I could find in this movie.
One of the only.
Oh, is this a good time for me to bring up what Patience does as like the lead art person?
Please.
On this.
Please.
Okay.
Patience Phillips. Head designer.
Yeah, designer for
marketing products.
Marketing. And so she's in charge of like coming up with the ad, excuse me, for this new product. And like she brings it to this head honcho guy who's, as you can imagine, he's a real butt munch. And he's like, no, rah, I said whatever. Like he said, it's red and I wanted white, or he says it's white, I wanted red, whatever.
It's blue and I wanted red.
Yeah. So, and she's like, she's meek and timid. Oh, okay. And he's like, and I want that by tomorrow. No, I want that by tonight. You have until midnight, or like your ass is fired, something like that. And Patience spends the remaining, let's be generous. I'll be generous and even say that happens at the end of the workday.
Sure. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. She then works for the next 7 hours, changing the background on her design from blue to red. That's it. She should have been fired for like her level of productivity.
It's
that bothered me as an artist.
I can understand why.
Yeah.
I can understand why.
It's like Nick Cage playing guitar naked in his
It really is. It really is.
It really
like,
is. So I get it.
You don't know how to play guitar.
Yeah. Patience doesn't know how to use Photoshop, I guess.
Don't know how to use. I mean, you don't even have to know how to use Photoshop to do that.
It's almost like you expected her to turn off her computer after she finally turned it all red and the monitor goes blank and you just see like the red swatch on the screen, like she colored it in. And she's like, oh no, all my work is here on the screen. But yeah, and then she gets killed. Not for the design, but for overhearing that the
Bayoline is.
It doesn't even like kill people. It just like makes women ugly. Like it mars up their face.
If you ever stop using it,
if you ever stop using it,
it makes you ugly.
Yeah, it gives you like all these like scars.
Yeah,
and I think that is where Heath Ledger's Joker got those scars.
Clearly,
I think we're tying it all together now.
Clearly. But if you keep using it,
you're fine. But you kind of go crazy.
You kind of go crazy, and it hardens your skin.
Yeah.
You get like impenetrable skin.
Yeah, like invulnerable. Like she is taking blows to the face that even if her skin is invulnerable, should be snapping her neck.
Yes. Or if her skin's invulnerable,
yeah,
the bones underneath
are not.
This
is some good cream. is all I'll say, is because it really...
And she puts it on with a cake frosting knife.
Yes, she has an offset spatula.
Yes.
And she is there in the mirror watching like a baking championship
Slathering it
for
on.
inspiration. And I just don't think that's how you put it on.
I don't think that's meant how it to.
No.
Okay.
Do you have any rants
I do.
for this movie?
I do. This started as a big question, and then it turned into a rant because the answer that I arrived on I didn't like.
Okay.
And I can't think of another reason why. You just offered me one, but I don't think the people who made this movie were smart enough to be like,
okay,
we're going to do something different with another character, and it's going to be, and like, it's okay because we're going to do something different. And this
I like
is new.
to give Pete Tough full
Why would you make a Catwoman movie
Yeah.
that's not about Selena Kyle?
Yeah.
Why? Flagship character within your intellectual property.
Yeah.
Why would you not? 'Cause anybody who's like, Catwoman's my jam.
Yeah.
You've instantly let them down and alienated them.
It works for me because I'm not super into Catwoman.
Well, I'm not even saying as like, I'm talking about like the reader of the Catwoman comic, whoever that person is, whether it's like,
that's what I'm talking about too.
Men, women, like young, old, I don't know.
Cat people.
I don't know who the demographic is.
People who like the Catwoman.
I didn't read the Catwoman comic. So like, I don't know what the demographic was.
Yeah.
But whoever that demographic is, you walk into a movie called Catwoman, you expect to see Selena Kyle. And I have to ask the question, was that decision made before or after Halle Berry signed on?
Okay.
And from 1992 to presumably 2003, it was Selena Kyle until Halle Berry was cast. So like, could the bigwigs at Warner Brothers just not imagine a non-white Selena Kyle?
Very possible.
When over the years, Selena Kyle has been depicted as like very ambiguous. That like, this is a great thing about art. There's a lot of imagination. Like the lines on the page, we've arrived at a place now where comic books are very detailed, but there was an era when everything was made with Ben-Days dots.
Oh yeah.
So that is incredibly imprecise, and like colors are imprecise in the printing process. So like, there are times when Selena Kyle appears that she could have been of Asian descent, could have been of like African-American descent, could have been like Eastern European. Like it changes depending on the artist. It's never explicitly said. And that's the wonderful thing about comic books. It's art, it's interpretive. Anything can be anything. It's like story driven. Like why, like what, I need to know what that conversation was like.
Yeah.
Like how they arrived at, we're going to do a Catwoman movie and it's not going to follow Selena Kyle.
Yeah, because maybe I'm giving more benefit of the doubt, but I like to think it was when they changed the story so greatly. But you know what? There's been other instances where they've just changed it and not given a shit.
Right.
So,
and as late as 2000, it's still Selena Kyle with Ashley Judd attached and Nicole Kidman attached.
Yeah.
I need that. I need to know. It started as a big question, and then it got kind of ranty to me.
Ranty BQ. We have ranty BQs.
And that character, Patience Phillips, has never appeared again and never will.
Yeah, that was going to be a question that I asked if she's
happened?
shown up in the comics like sometimes other characters haven't.
Nope.
You could make a cool comic out of Patience Phillips.
You could.
Yeah. All right. My first rant. Well, I already said my first rant, which was too many goddamn cats. And I kind of already said that, like, terrible photoshopping. Now, Patience Phillips does terrible photoshopping, but, like, that opening scroll of, like, all of the women from history with, like, cat attire on them.
Yeah.
Put a little more effort in that, please, if it's opening your movie. Because
it was so poorly done.
I shouldn't be watching it, even in 2004. I should be watching it going, like, I could do better.
Yeah,
I could do better than that with, like, my one course of Photoshop that I've ever taken. Okay, so my first...
It's really all you need.
My first rant that was very off-putting to me was the character of Sally, a.k.a. Alex Borstein's character.
Oh, yeah, Alex Borstein.
I was really excited when she was in it.
I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. I love Alex Borstein.
And then she was just... She was kind of predatory.
Coma? at one point, right?
she's heavy on the cream.
Yeah.
She's heavy on the cream. So she like faints and passes out, and then she's in the hospital like for the rest of the movie. But all she ever does in the movie is
lust after
any man
Yeah.
that walks by. In like a very like not okay way.
Well, this movie, I mean, yeah. I'll let you finish your rant.
No, that's really
Okay.
it. Like I was constantly uncomfortable. And like the man would be standing right there. I should be talking about the man candy and
Well, I mean,
tie
like
me up and blah, blah,
this
blah.
movie and like Pitoff, this movie and the
Pitoff.
script doesn't understand comic books.
No.
Doesn't understand the character and doesn't seem to understand women at all. The writers and director, I'm going to level this at Pitoff because he's the director.
Yeah, taking shots.
Every woman in this movie is a sex crazed, like lust bucket on the hunt for a thrill ride.
Bucket. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
they're like every character is motivated by sex. That's all any of the women in this movie want.
Yeah.
I'm really at a loss that this was that. I gotta. This is not our podcast, but I gotta ask the question: how did this movie get made?
Yeah,
I really.
Well, I think you answered already when you said like WB had a hole and they just had to fill it, and so they were like, "What can we make really quick?" And
stuff in that hole.
Yeah.
Okay. I see where you're going there.
I didn't even mean to make the entendre there.
Yeah.
But like they had a gap in their programming.
Yeah.
And they needed something, and they had this thing that was in the works for like 10 years.
It is so cringy and insulting.
It's very cringy.
Just like not only to women, but just like base level intelligence.
Yeah, just people.
Yeah.
Those people, characters, individuals.
And I think I think rightly so. I couldn't find another credit for the writers or directors after this movie.
There's no character in this movie across the board where I'm like, yeah, that's a real person. Like that's
Benjamin Brandt was such a bad police officer.
So he's the love interest. Yeah. No, he's a terrible police officer.
He's such a bad police officer. Even after he has seen Patience.
Yes. No, he's terrible. He's very bad at what he does.
Like, defy the laws of physics playing basketball.
Yeah, okay. We're getting...
There's all, like, he's seen Catwoman. He's seen Patience.
Yep.
Be Catwoman, not in the Catwoman attire. The costume is, like, there's more fabric in the cowl of the costume than there is in anything else. He has had sex with Patience at this point and, like, ostensibly seen her naked to be able to be like, oh, like, I know this figure.
Yep. No, he's a dum-dum.
He's a big dum-dum.
Yeah. and
that hit me right in the right place. He's
and
a big
so
dum-dum.
is the, I don't know the name of the guy, but like the beauty market, like
sure.
the guy at the tippity top, like everything he does is dumb too.
Yeah.
Like everything is done. This is a movie where things are done because we have to get to the next scene. And the only way to get to the next scene is if this happens in this scene. And then it's not even executed that well. And so like the characters are all like, I don't know. I don't know what to compare it to because I don't want to be derogatory to the thing I'm comparing it to. But like it feels very like first draft of like a high school play that you would like listen.
Hey.
That's what I mean.
That is not fair to high school
That's
plays.
why I said first draft, and then we printed it. But like, you know, like, all right, let's not give them much to work with because we don't want to overwhelm them. Like, it felt like those decisions were made.
If you told me there was no script and all the actors were wearing earpieces and they were just saying and doing whatever Pitoff was telling them to do, I would believe that.
Yeah.
If like that emerged from a Catwoman documentary, I would be like, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Some of the lines are rough. Not to make a dog pun, but they are rough in this movie. I didn't even write them down.
Take a bite out of them.
They were.
What do you got?
They were rough. Oh no, I don't remember. But she did have like a lot of cat puns. She did have a lot, but I can't think of any at the moment. Something about always landing on her feet. There were that one was one, and scratching and biting and blah blah blah. Yeah, I think it's yours.
The whole I'm going to throw 2 out here
Yeah.
just because we could rant on this movie.
I have 7 rants, so I'll start.
Okay.
I won't do them all.
You know what? Let's be fair to the subject matter sketch. Let's do them all.
Okay.
Let's just do them all. The costume and catwalking. Here's where Carmen Sandiego is such a better example of a femme fatale in Thief. Like Catwoman at her core is a thief.
Yeah.
And they do establish that Patience is a thief. They go down that role and they're very like, oh wait, but we're not making a Selena Kyle movie. So
So
let's not do that again.
Completely undo it.
They completely undo that, walk it back.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's just bad. It's just like the whole imagery, the motivations, it's poorly crafted, it's poorly scripted. It always just comes back to the name Catwoman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, like, that's the organizing North Star. Her name's Catwoman. So we got to keep doing like cat things and cat burglar and cat walking. And like Carmen Sandiego's name has nothing to do with her form, function, like motif.
Yeah.
It's just like, and that is a character designed for like 4th to 8th graders on a computer game from the early 1990s.
Yeah.
And it's just so much better than this.
I hear you. I'm the part I'm struggling with is that Carmen Sandiego was your go-to answer for that. Like I had to think like from like the PBS game show that I watched like after school.
No, I'm talking like the actual like computer game and like the cartoons and properties that have emerged since. And
Tracker Across the World. Got it. Got it.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Not the game show, but like where in the world, where in time.
The game show was the first thing I thought of.
Interesting. But I would say like the game show is even better.
Oh, sure.
Constructed than this.
Yeah.
And Carmen Sandiego, for all intents and purposes, is not in the game show.
No. You're just tracking her down.
You're just tracking her down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that if the costume of Catwoman ended on her heist outfit.
But so let's talk about like, okay, so those of you who haven't seen the imagery, she starts off in like a cat suit. Like a cat burglar, form-fitting black.
It reads suit. To me like a biker ensemble.
Yeah,
it's like
well, what it is. She steals a motorcycle.
Yeah, but that leather. Oh, I wish I didn't know as many.
Didn't the leather jumpsuit came
from Sally? Sally got that for her.
Oh, right.
To like wear on dates and stuff like that.
You're right.
But it was form-fitting, but it wasn't revealing or anything like that.
No.
Like you actually don't believe it comes from Sally, knowing who Sally is at this point. But it's like
it's perfect for hiding your identity and like
it's functional at this point for what Catwoman is.
And I think she even wears like a ski toque and like cuts the eyes out.
She gets God damn it! Why do I know so much about this?
She steals a cat mask in the heist.
The cat mask in the heist, but then she gives it back.
And
then old cat lady has like the
cowl of the Catwoman.
Yeah.
Oh man. Old lady. We'll get there. So we go from the biker cat suit, the form-fitting biker cat suit, to like boot cut like chaps.
Yeah. That are all torn up. Like ripped.
Well, like the butt and crotch are missing from it, and she's just wearing like underpants underneath it. Isn't she?
Think so.
Or it's just like torn up.
It's torn up.
And then she's like wearing a leather brassiere.
She has a leather bra and like 2 belts.
Yeah, that crisscross. Serve no purpose.
They're not holding anything. No. Like, she doesn't have like a holster or something, or like her whip hangs there or something.
Because she doesn't have a whip.
No, at the end of the movie, she has a whip.
Yeah.
But
and high heels.
Yeah, and high heels, and then the cowl.
But my point is like the leather pants chap thing.
Yeah.
There are butt cheeks hanging out of it, so they're either ripped or they're chaps.
I'm pretty sure they're torn in the cheek zone.
But they're like boot cut. They're baggy.
Yeah, they flare out at the bottom. Yeah,
She goes from form fitting to like material that can get caught on everything.
Oh no, none of it
on no sense.
Any of those belts
on no
any
scale,
of those multiple loose fitting belts would just snag. Yeah,
on no level does any of this make sense. Like you can't make an argument that it's like for combat to protect her.
Nope.
You can't make an argument that it even hides her identity.
Nope.
There's nothing functional, and it's just like eye candy. It's just objectifying.
Yeah.
And like you can tell like, oh, this is power when you like don't care that you're basically walking around naked.
Yeah.
And I get where like in the like realm of like high society and fashion where you can make that argument with like a runway model, like this is power and beauty to just like be up there revealing. But no, this is clearly just like put nerds in their seats. Halle Berry's beautiful, and let's get the posters out there.
Yeah.
And it's just insulting.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Geeks don't care about story. It's just it's just the eye candy. It's just the fan service.
That's it.
That's it. Don't care about story.
What we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing like legit. Maybe I'm just being such an innocent little guy here, but so you have the heist, and I'm like, yeah, this is working out fine because again, that's like the peak of the movie where it gets the best. And then like in the next scene when she's like, okay, now she's been like birthed as Catwoman, she like everything is all torn up, and it's a reveal like from her feet up to her face, right? So you're seeing like, and I remember thinking like, she didn't seem like she got that beat up at the thing. Like I was reading it like this was all battle damage, like as they're going up her legs and you're seeing all the tears and everything. I was like, nothing happened to her at that heist. She wiped the floor with those guys. Why is she? And then it's like the belts and the brassiere, and I was, oh, this is all deliberate. This is a choice.
Sketch, we're both right. It is all like ripped up and torn.
Yeah.
But then it's also stitched in that she's like, they're pants, but there is a thong stitched into
There's
the pants.
There's a thong stitched into the pants, yeah.
It is.
It's the bat nipples of this movie.
It's like so cringy.
It is. It's rather cringy. There's a lot I cringed at in this movie.
So bad.
Okay, here's something I cringed at. Here's something I really cringed at. The basketball scene. That basketball scene is so upsetting. It's very uncomfortable to watch. It's very uncomfortable.
Okay, so let's set the scene. They are at a public school.
Yes, she stalks the cop.
The cop,
right?
She goes to the police precinct.
She calls the police precinct
and asks where he is,
and they tell her. And so she shows up with donuts. I think but she shows up to apologize.
Yes.
Oh, coffee. She gives him coffee because she stood him up. Because she died.
Right.
Yeah. And like he's giving like the most
sorry I died. Here's some coffee.
He's giving the most like generic like I want you to be good kids speech to like these inner city kids that is just like,
listen, you degenerates.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want you to end up. I don't know.
Good, or you'll be at the wrong end of my gun.
Yeah, it's so weak.
It's so bad.
So poorly. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, let's go shoot some hoops. And they get outside, and like immediately, like all the kids part like to the edges of the court, and one kid's like, "Let's see what you got," and like throws the ball to Patience, and then the cop's like, "Yeah, let's see what you got." And then they get into like the most sexually charged one-on-one game. There is like,
it is a giant metaphor for just like raw fucking.
Oh. Absolutely.
And they are surrounded by
like cheering children.
Conservatively, maybe more, 50 screaming children. And they're possibly 100.
And not screaming.
Way more than would fit in a classroom.
With like fear. Like they're cheering them on. Yeah. And things are getting
these are not even like teenagers. These are like elementary school kids.
And it is very sexual. And you know what? You could do that scene in a sexy way, and it could work, I guess, in something. but not in a school.
Not a school
playground with like a cop like getting into it,
right?
And like Patience, and then Patience starts getting like superhuman,
yeah, like,
and
slam dunking from the foul. I think she flips at one point.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
And then like her landing after, didn't you like land on him and like straddles him? At one point? Yeah, it's so wrong.
No,
guys,
it's clearly
I haven't seen this movie since like maybe November or December.
No, she lands
clearly
on him.
Clearly, it stood out,
and it's clearly a stand-in for like you know it's over, and we're just panting. And
right,
and all the kids are around us.
It's the equivalent of like,
wow, lady, that was amazing. I was like, okay, so subtle, Patal.
Me next,
yeah,
me next.
Now, okay, I would almost give it like 1 point if like kid was like, I want to play her next.
I got next game.
Yeah, like okay, you're in on it, kid. I get it. That's funny.
So wrong.
Yeah, that was very
so
uncomfortable.
Wrong.
Yeah, you have another rant?
Yes, I do.
There's so many rants in this movie.
The Gumby CGI sequence at the end of the movie, with whenever you gave it high marks for the way it lands, but whenever
the way she's moving as a cat.
Whenever she's moving as it is like the bad Gumby CGI of the early 2000s.
It's not good CGI.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. The thing I like about it is like the motions.
Yes, the motions are good, but the mechanics of her body just do not work. And the whole basketball game that we just riffed on is all done practically with wire work.
Yeah.
And the majority of the end of the first act heist is also done with wire work. And it all looks and holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
It's well choreographed. It's well laid out.
Those are not off-putting.
So then when you put in this bad Gumby CGI, all of that practical work is then lessened by the horrible, like, and Raimi's Spider-Man for the time is very good. But one of the big problems with Raimi's Spider-Man is whenever he's crawling up a building, whenever he's like being Spider-Man, you can always tell it's CG and not real. And that was one of the things that the rebooted Andrew Garfield movies were supposed to fix.
Yeah.
They were supposed to move to more practical effects. So you felt like Spider-Man was real and the proportions were correct.
Yeah.
And this like, or the first Blade movie ends in this big CGI fight. And you just feel like you're watching like a 1999 like first person shooter kind of like it's motion capture, or they're like pictures that they've animated element to it. And it just lessens the quality and the work that went into those practical moments.
Yeah, sure. No, I get that. Yeah. I underlined it. Actions, like the motions of that stuff is when I was like, oh, they were doing their homework. But yeah, it did not look like a finished product.
Did not hold up. No, it didn't. It looked like the early, like the rendering phase. It was never like, they never went back.
And then it should get approved and then it should get finished.
Right.
It's good enough for Pitoff. It's good enough for
And there are a lot of movies from this era that are like that. But when you consider that we're only 4 years away from Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, oh, 4 years and computers are there. But yeah, but we had also had like Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
and
those are
like
looking better
the first
already.
2 X-Men movies. And we've had the Star Wars prequels that by that point, which are like all CG everywhere.
Yeah.
The technology was there.
Yeah. And you know what I think what lines up with this is the time frame of, oh, we got to get this out.
Got to get it out.
Yeah. Let's just get it to a passable level.
Yep.
Then we'll get there. Okay. So before I said the cat actions, we're good. All of the cat behaviors, that she does, were very off-putting to me.
Yes.
I
think she sleeps in a shelf.
Yep.
At one point.
Yep.
She laps up milk at one point.
She gobbles up sushi.
Right.
And like falls the
she paws at things.
And like, listen, all of these things are like okay if you handle them well. But my problem is she never once questions it.
Right.
She never like catches herself and is like, that's weird. That's weird. I should stop doing this. Like at one point she's on the phone with Sally and she has considerably 7 empty tuna cans around her and she's demolishing the last one with her fingers. And like a rational person would be like,
something is wrong with me.
I'm eating too much tuna. Like, Sally,
Too much tuna.
too much tuna. Like, I think something's very odd going on.
Something is wrong with me. I'm going to the hospital.
So, like, for me, the fix is either don't do that, which is like my first fix, or if you're gonna do it,
your fix is stop.
Just stop it.
Stop it.
Or like, at least if you're going to do it a whole lot less, and then have your character question it,
right?
Because you know, and we know that this is weird.
Yeah,
but she never acknowledges the fact that it's weird.
No.
So it like. You're just diminishing like your sympathy for this character because she's just getting more and more like cartoony. Like she's turning more and more just into a strange non-human entity at this point.
Yes, strong agree.
Yeah,
good rant.
Thank you.
All right, last rant. Catwoman. I understand in this movie she has powers.
She does.
She has cat powers.
She has like cat-like reflexes. Which is fitting. She has like her senses are very.
She has like a spider sense.
She's like spider sense, but look, it's cat.
She has like cat reflexes.
Yeah. She instinctively knows how to use a whip.
Yes. Which I guess is supposed to be her tail.
Yeah, I guess the first time she uses it like as part of a keg.
Yeah.
And like she whips it, and then it like snaps in her head. Like, oh yeah, I use whips. Okay.
I know how to use whips.
Yeah.
Okay. There are two moments in particular in the movie where I just had to stop. I had to pause and make sure that I saw what I saw.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. The first one is after she's arrested, she's put into a cell.
Yes.
And it's very much like Spider-Man 2 when Tobey, like, he loses his powers because he doesn't believe in himself. And he has to believe in himself and he gets his powers back.
Yeah.
So she's in the cell. The cat comes and visits her, and she's like, "Yes, I am the Catwoman. I am going to go and save the day."
She does. Yep.
The cell is established that it is bars.
Yes.
That are about 1 to 2 inches apart.
Feet, not inches. I'd be like this close.
Yes, it's established that the bars are 1 to 2 inches apart.
Oh, like in an opening shot of it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then it's a grid.
Okay.
The camera then turns sideways and she, like, I guess like animals are able to like flatten themselves and fit through small,
like goddamn mice.
She like turns sideways.
Yeah, she does.
And steps through the bars.
She does. Yeah.
How did she get her head through? Like, I'll believe her legs, her hips. I'll believe everything else. How did she get her head?
Yeah, it's not flexible.
Through the bars.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
it started as a big question. I was like, "What? Wait a minute." So I stopped. I went back. I looked at it, and it like there's an earlier shot where she tries to pass through it and she can't, and then she does.
Yeah.
I had to stop and
liquid cat bones is what she's got.
She has liquid cat bones, and so then it happens again when she's in she goes back to Bayoline. And there are goons and there are cops.
Yep.
And she's like sneaking around. And it's established that like she needs to get through these doors.
Yep.
So there are doors there.
Trying to picture this. Yep.
Okay, so like so this is the door. And like the hallway is like, here's the portal.
Yep. Shades is drawing
there's like, so here's like this corner and this corner, like, so there's the door.
Yeah.
And there's like an alcove here.
Yeah.
And she's
I know what you're talking about.
And the goons go around the corner.
Yep.
She's in the corner.
Yeah,
the goons go around the corner. Then she's not in the corner.
Yeah.
And then she steps. She doesn't drop down.
No.
She steps
She pokes
out.
her head out, yeah.
She steps out from around the other corner.
Yep.
Now, it's not a pillar. She doesn't go around a pillar. It's closed in on three sides.
Yep.
And on the other side is a door that she can't get through. Yep. She needs the key card to get through. And the camera establishes that she has not gone up. She's just there 1 minute. She's gone the next. And when she steps out, she has the guard's key card. Yep. She picked his pocket. How?
Yeah.
How did that, even with her cat powers?
I will.
Even with the cat powers, how did she do it? Like, we didn't see her arm drop down. and like take the key card, it posits that she went around the backside of the wall.
Yeah,
but
no.
then she also needed to walk through the door. And it's like, it's The Rock. It's like, if that is how she did it, then she was already on the other side of the door.
Right. The scene that you're talking about, just to help explain it to the longtime listeners a little bit more. Sorry. This is in the police station.
Oh, it's
She's
the police
escaping
station.
the police
She's
station.
escaping the police station, not bailing.
She steps out of like an elevator. So like, you know how when you get out of an elevator, like sometimes an elevator is kind of inset into like a little indentation, right?
Because it's added on to the building.
Yeah. So she comes out of that little indentation and like immediately she knows that like there's two cops coming her way.
She uses her cat sense.
Yeah. So she backs back up. Like up against the elevator. Elevator door's closed, so like she's just now up against the door.
There's nowhere she can go.
Like so she's out of frame. The two cops pass us, and they get to the point where you're like, okay, there's no way they don't see her.
There's nowhere for her to go.
She's right there off camera. And as they pass the camera, she pokes her head out down the hall, like, whoop.
Correct.
I did it. Like, what'd you do? There's
how?
nothing you did. This is impossible.
Did you crawl along the ceiling? They're going to see you. Did you crawl along the floor?
Yeah.
Did you jump out a window and come in? If you jumped out a window, then you don't need to come back into the building.
It was impossible.
It's so, thank you. And it started as a big question. And both of those times I paused. Mm-hmm. I wound it back to make sure that I saw what I did.
Right.
And it's so bad. It's so, like, this is one of those, I'm never someone that says, like, I can do better.
Yeah. You can do better.
I can do better.
Yeah.
I can do better. And I shouldn't be able to do better when you have $100 million budget.
Yeah, I'll do it better for a lot cheaper.
A lot cheaper.
If you'd like. The only way to explain it away is to say, like, oh, okay, well, this is a movie set. And she just went around the fake elevator and came out on the other side. Like, that is the only thing your brain can come up with.
Exactly.
That takes you out of the movie.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That was my last rant.
I'm good. I got a lot of my rants out of the way.
Okay.
I got you know what? The movie has problems. The movie has problems.
It does.
Mainly too many cats.
Okay.
I got some BQs.
I've got some BQs.
Okay.
Do you want to start? You want me to start?
Why is Catwoman always damp? Because cats like notoriously hate water. And she is just always damp and glistening.
Because
is she sweating?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Because she's wearing leather.
Yeah, but she's made so many ventilation air holes all over that
true.
thing.
But I mean, leather doesn't breathe, man.
No, it does not.
But my answer to that is that she keeps cleaning herself, and because she doesn't have fur, there's nowhere for the saliva to go.
Yep. No, that tracks.
That's the.
It's sad that
I asked myself that question. I was like, that's got to be it.
There's a scene where she notoriously hates water. It starts raining and she like hisses.
Yes.
She also hisses at a dog. Like, these are the things that it's like she should be like, whoa, I didn't used to be like this, but whatever. A cat breathed to me when I was dead, so it all makes sense.
When you say it like that,
that's her origin.
So
Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider.
I died and a cat breathed into me.
And Catwoman, she died and a cat breathed into her. But there's very little water in the movie, which I thought was the choice because she's a cat.
$100 million.
Yeah. A lot of that was put into, like,
died and a cat breathed into me.
Like spray bottles. They're constantly misting her.
Oh my God.
Okay, that was a $75 misting. Add it to the budget. Yep. Okay, what's your question?
Okay, number one. Is Patience walking around after her quote unquote death possessed by a cat demon? Is there like a cat? Is this like the instance of a cat in a human body?
Mm-hmm.
Or
feels that way.
You know what I mean? Like,
but there's a lot of patience left.
There's a lot of, it's almost like so my question is like, is the cat demon that's possessed her just accessing her, what's left of her memories?
And that's very similar to one of my questions.
Is she still Patience with powers? And I leaned more towards this is a cat.
Yeah.
In a human body.
That's what I also lean towards because of the way that this cat is timeless and immortal, it seems like.
Right.
But the warriors, come and go.
Right.
And so, because that's the question I said, did Iris put something into Patience, with his breath or her breath?
Isis? Or Iris?
Iris.
Oh, Iris.
I thought it was Iris.
I think you're right because Catwoman's cat is Isis in the comics. So that would be like a quick, we'll just make it Iris.
Yeah. And then the follow up, and that's what they do for all Catwomen. Or is Iris drawing something out like that's buried within all these Catwomen?
Right.
But I agree with you. I think it's like a pseudo possession, where like it's putting in part of its like immortal entity, and that's where like the powers come from. But the person is still there.
And I think that has to do with this is where my honest take of where that came from. I really sat and thought about it. Mm-hmm. As like little shades in 1992, I see Batman Returns. I see Catwoman's origin story, and I go, oh, the cats like bit her and like infect her with something, or like give them her spirit, and like she comes back to life. Mm-hmm. And I think,
or like one of their lives.
They're each giving her one of their lives.
Cats notoriously have.
And Michelle Pfeiffer like seemingly dies repeatedly in Batman Returns, and like says, "I've still got like." The movie ends and she's like, "I still got 2 lives left."
Yeah.
And I like did like Little Pitoff also see
probably
Batman Returns?
I think someone
and take
told
that
him
away.
About it. I don't think he saw it. I think
but now
told him.
Adult Shades, thinks like sees Batman Returns, and I haven't seen Batman Returns.
I haven't seen it in many years.
When you and I watched it in like 2005-ish, 2004,
fresh off of Catwoman.
No, we didn't see.
We didn't watch.
We
Catwoman,
watched all the Batman that
I'm
were
talking about. The world was fresh off of Catwoman.
Sure,
it was a post Catwoman world.
So, now thinking back to that, no, she didn't die.
Yeah.
She had a near-death experience, and then she had a psychotic break.
Yeah, of course.
And this because
she's a Batman.
And also because it's Tim Burton's like dark, warped world, and doesn't have any powers, does not have cat lives.
Right.
It just has like a psychotic break from like the trauma of like almost dying, like being murdered, choked, and then thrown out a window.
Yeah.
But Adult Pitoff never came to that.
Never came to that
conclusion.
And
the screenwriters, like they saw it in 1992, and that's like Catwoman's story, and that's how you make a Catwoman.
That's how you do it.
And so that's where I get to they think the spirits of cats enter these people after they've died.
Yeah. I think that's what they were going for.
And that's where the development of this movie ended.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. All right, here's one for you. The cop at one point says that patients...
Benjamin Bratt?
Yeah, Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt.
Her love interest.
Yeah.
Says that it doesn't add up because patients didn't have any motive for killing George, but wasn't publicly firing her and shaming her in front of her entire company like motivation. He's a terrible cop.
Yes, she had more motive than anybody,
even more motive than the wife.
Public and documented.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is just factually based on like what the movie is telling us is factually inaccurate.
Yeah.
Based on what we saw.
He is terrible. Like, he's introduced Patience is insane. And so she's trying to get a cat off of a ledge, which like, hi, cats can do that. So like, oh my gosh, that mountain goat's on a mountain. Let's help it. Like, no, like cats can handle these ledges. So she like crawls out on her ledge. It's like 10 stories up.
Oh my God.
And like, she starts falling. And then the cop shows up and is like, we got to jump her,
Right.
I got to help her. And he gets her off the ledge.
There's a mountain goat on a mountain.
And then all she says is like, oh no, it was a misunderstanding. I'm not actually suicidal.
I was trying to rescue this cat.
And then he's just like,
anymore.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Moving on.
Want to get some coffee?
You want to play basketball?
What?
Like he's terrible.
Want a bone?
He's terrible at what he does.
He is objectively bad at being a police officer.
Yeah. Oh, that was a cringy line. I mean, I guess in a better movie it wouldn't have been as cringy, but like when his when his partner, they get patients.
I don't even remember his partner.
It's not even a partner. It's just a guy who works at the cop station. This is the one line he has.
The cop station. I love it.
Yeah, and because this is not a police station. This is a cop station.
Cop station.
This is like a cop hangout in this movie. And so they put patients behind bars for killing George. And the guy's like, hey, sorry you lost your girl, but at least you got your guy. And I was like, oh, or no, at least you got your man.
You got your man. Yeah.
And then like our cop is like, I guess, maybe. Yeah. And I'm just like, cringe. That's what I mean. These lines feel so, I don't know. Maybe Pitoff, you said he's like from France.
Yep.
Maybe these work better in French and like they just don't translate.
Nope. So here's my next question.
Nope.
Why did WB think this was a good idea?
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck is Pitoff? He's a French visual effects supervisor.
Yeah.
A director of photography. It's just a bizarre choice. It's an unenjoyable vision for the scope and sequence of a movie.
Yeah.
Why would you hire a French visual effects supervisor?
This really is the big question of this movie.
As the director of your movie.
Yeah.
So I said he has directing experience. After this, up until that point, he had no directing experience.
I mean, they had like 4 weeks to shoot this, and he was available.
he was like, I mean, God, like, I would take Joel Schumacher's
it is the big question.
Batman
it's the
over
really
this.
Big question of this movie is like, really,
was really nobody else available?
Yeah.
Like, and again, I'm usually, hey, like, everybody gets one MacGuffin.
Yeah. Everybody gets one.
This was, we're taking you, not even we're taking you off the bench.
Mm-mm.
This is like, we're
bringing it up to the big leagues.
We need a pilot.
Yeah.
There are no pilots available. How about somebody who's used Flight Simulator 98?
Yeah.
Have anybody played Microsoft Flight Simulator 98?
Yeah. No, it would be like someone's choking in a restaurant, and it was like, "Is there a doctor here?" And
I played Dr. Mario,
or like some guy was like, "Yeah, I'm a doctor of education. I'll do it."
Sure.
And it's like, wrong venue.
Or like,
bud. Read the crowd.
If you need your bathroom retiled, you wouldn't hire a roofer.
No, wrong guy.
So
I could do it.
It's like, why?
That's the big. I mean, truly, we ask big questions a lot, but that's the one I'd want to know like the most. Is like, what led you to land on this? What, like, under normal circumstances, this is not how it would have gone.
And I have a theory.
Oh,
I have a theory.
Okay.
It was such a tight turnaround window.
Yes.
That if he's a visual FX supervisor, did he get the directing gig based on the promise of being able to turn in the CGI work?
Maybe.
Like, is it his visual effects firm or the firm that he worked with, or like some connection there? Is that
could be
here? Like, I guarantee that you'll have stunning, like, here's proof of concept for the visual effects work that I've done.
Yeah.
That, like, this is the product I will deliver to you.
I'd buy it
for release date.
This is all speculation, but I buy it.
That's all I can't find anything.
Yeah.
And like, his work after this is non-existent.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like that scene with the cops coming towards the elevator, and like, it's like WB execs talking like, we just need someone to direct this thing. And then fucking like Pitoff, Catwoman just pokes his head out from the corner. Hello. And like, oh,
it's like, we've got Halle Berry. We need to make this happen in like 6 months. Like, oh God. And it's like Pitoff shows like, I can do it in 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
For $100
million.
$100 million.
Yeah. That is the big question.
It makes for great audio. I just did Dr. Evil Pinky.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, I have one final BQ.
I have 2 final.
Oh my
BQs.
Goodness gracious. All right, well, I'll do mine and then you can end with yours.
Okay.
What would your handwriting say about you? And is that really what happens in handwriting analysis? That like,
No.
Look at this S. This person is meek and a real people pleaser. But this S,
these are
this
clearly
S.
two different people.
What the fuck? I'm also looking at it, and like
they look pretty similar.
It's like the one piece of detective work that like the cop does that I'm like, you're onto something here, bud. You noticed something. And yet this fucker who's like looking at it is like,
oh no,
this person is strong and commanding and fierce.
The tilt.
And so you don't think it's the same person? No, but I'll tell you the one thing. You get these two ladies in one room, you're in one for a hell of a time. It's like, what? What is this?
Cringeworthy.
What? Based on their S's?
And Benjamin Bratt's like, yeah, you are.
Yeah. You put these two broads on a basketball court, and oh boy, things are gonna get awkward quick. Okay. Pitoff, sit down. Who's still inviting you in here for these pitch meetings?
I mean, you've already, I had a question that it's not a throwaway, but you've already answered it. How does Benjamin Bratt not realize Patience is Catwoman sooner?
Yeah.
I think we've asked and answered, I'll say to that one.
Yeah. The only thing that she's got going for her is, kind of like that Superman whole thing of like, you can't, he puts on glasses and no one can tell. It's like, no one would ever believe.
Right. But she is like categorically longer acting like Patience.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
You would never believe that Patience Phillips pre-death was Catwoman. But as soon as she is Catwoman,
right?
Patient Phillips is gone.
Dead. She's gone. She's just person.
She's just Catwoman wearing Patient Phillips's skin, basically at that point. Yeah.
Okay. This is my final big question.
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud of it.
Okay.
And I would appreciate an explanation.
Okay.
And we've asked this question before
in
a different property. So I think.
Does it start with how the literal fuck?
It doesn't. Bayoline turns your skin into quote unquote marble.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How does she move? If it changes the density of your skin, how does she move without super strength? Does not have super strength.
No.
No,
she's just a person.
How does, I can't remember, Giselle? Is that her name?
Could be.
How does Sharon Stone's character move?
Yeah.
Part one, and then there's a follow-up.
Okay. My answer is, it turns your skin. Did you ever in like elementary school make oobleck?
Nope.
Okay, we made oobleck when I was a kid. Are you familiar with oobleck?
I don't know what this is. So maybe I have made it, but
oobleck is a Dr. Seuss book, I believe, called Oobleck. Maybe it's not even called oobleck, but it's this green goo that falls from the sky, right? And it's like a whole story about this green glue.
Oh, and if you just let it roll out of your hand, but
it's very liquid.
Yes, and if you put pressure on it, it
hardens. It's like a cornstarch slurry, right?
Yeah, I think we made it with Elmer's.
Okay,
and something else.
So
maybe it's Elmer's and cornstarch.
There are.
If you put it in a pool, if you run across it, you can run across the top, and if you stand on it, you'll sink.
There is a name for this, and if
oobleck, okay.
Well, oobleck is the Dr. Seuss like kid's name for it, but there's like a scientific name for a fluid that when it's impacted, it hardens.
Write in, long-time listeners.
Right? Yeah, write in. One of you knows. So slow, careful movements, and it is a liquid for all intents and purposes. Okay. You can sink into it, you can mold it, you can pour it. But the moment you slap it or smack it or drop it hard, it tenses up.
I believe Mythbusters tested this with like Buster off of a crane.
Okay.
And it was like enough to save Buster.
And so I say that's what it's turning her skin into. That liquid, and it's not hard as marble until it is struck.
Well, I like that explanation.
Thank you.
But I think Patience hits her so hard, so repeatedly, it eventually cracks.
It does.
And flakes off of her.
Yeah, but it pushes it past the brink. It gets to a point. It's like any substance. Like it only can take so much stress. and then
I
then it
don't
breaks.
know that that's how
And I don't
that
think
chemical reaction
nothing
works.
came off. It's like her skin in that area died. You know, like she didn't.
No, her face cracked, and underneath was her skin and like her eye.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just watched it just a couple days ago. Like she
Right, that does happen, and like this part of her face cracks and falls off.
She gets like hit so hard,
And there's a noticeable ridge.
well, I don't remember the ridge. I mean, I'll go with it because I do not want to watch it again.
Okay.
But like the way I always read it was that like it's finally taken so many hits,
And underneath, she's horribly scarred.
she looks horrible underneath.
Yeah.
She looks like Deadpool underneath.
Right.
Okay, and that's ultimately what kills her.
She looks like an avocado fucked a topical graphic map of New Mexico.
Yeah, and that's what kills her, because when she's hanging on for dear life, and you know, Patience is like, grab my hand because you know,
I'm ugly.
She's like, I might be a thief, but I'm no killer or something like that.
Right.
She looks at her, she sees her reflection, and she's ugly, and that startles her, and she falls to her death.
Yeah.
A lot of falling.
Yeah. Follow-up question.
Yeah.
I think you've given your answer.
Her face is oobleck.
If her skin turns to marble, or she's encased in this thing, how is she not dead? Because your skin needs to breathe and sweat. If you can't sweat, you will die. She can't sweat if she's encased in this, even if it's like oobleck.
Yeah.
She's encased in it. She can't sweat.
Yeah.
How does she not die?
Catwoman is sweating enough for both of them.
Okay.
That's my answer.
I'll take it. I like it.
Symbiotic sweat. Like sympathy sweat.
That is disgusting.
Yeah, and it's not even the most disgusting thing in this movie.
It's not.
7 tuna cans just sitting on her bed, like looking at her fingers, and never. This is weird. I never used to do this. Maybe she always did.
Think how much tuna is in that bed.
Oh, I know.
Ugh.
You got to junk that bed.
You got to junk that bed. And then she has sex with Benjamin
that's
Brett
the
afterwards.
Thing. Like, if I was...
That bed reeked of tuna.
If I was him...
Oh, God.
If I was him...
Oh, my God. Oh, I just thought of that. And
even if I... Let's say I'm in
long-time listeners, imagine crawling into a bed that just reeks of tuna
That's
fish.
the thing. Like, I would find
God.
it very difficult to get in the mood. Even if it's Halle Berry.
Oh.
If
long-time
she's
listeners,
like,
I feel
let me just sweep these empty tuna cans off of my bed. I mean, it's like that scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie huffs the glue, drinks the beer, and eats the cat food. It's her apartment is turning into that.
Oh yeah, yikes! Oh,
it's
I
gross.
feel ill.
Maybe that's why she sweats so much. It's like she's got the tuna sweats.
Oh, I think that brings us to
Shades of Sketch Recommendations. Brought to you by Bumblebee and Chicken of the Sea.
Yikes.
You got one?
I do. I'm going to rec Catwoman Hunted, which is a either late 2001 or early 2002 animated feature film following Catwoman Selena Kyle in her quest to steal the Cat Eye Emerald from a cabal of who's who of B and C tier Bat villains.
Sure.
It's kind of a romp across Europe. It stars Batwoman, Kate Kane, Batwoman, with the red wig.
Yep.
Popularized in the first season of Batwoman on CW and comics since 2003-ish.
Okay.
When they reintroduced the character. It features friend of the pod, Zara Fuzzle, as the voice of Nosferatu.
Okay.
Who's like a Egyptian cat themed like gargoyle kind of person with wings.
Tracks.
It does. I think Zara finally got to play a gargoyle.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's delightful. It's fun. It really captures the heart of Catwoman, Selena Kyle. The femme fatale cat burglar, morally ambiguous, thief with a heart of gold, can't trust her. And it's just fun.
We could all use a little fun.
It was just fun. It's now streaming on HBO Max. You can watch it with your subscription. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It did feel like it ran a little long.
Okay.
But it also left me wanting more.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, Catwoman Hunted.
All right.
Hope you enjoy it.
You said it's animated.
It is, yeah, it's an animated feature.
Animated.
Yep. It's I think it's about 95 minutes.
Okay. Good. It's a good one.
Sketch, what's your rec?
I have one I've been wanting to recommend for a while.
Okay.
It's so fucking weird. Okay. There is this show on Netflix. So if you still have your Netflix, you can watch this.
Oh boy.
It's called Kantaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman. Have you heard of it?
I think I flipped by it.
Okay. So
When
here's
you
the
said
premise.
Kantaro, I was like, oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, not Hamtaro.
No.
Kantaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman. It is a show from Japan, but is live action, so it's not anime.
Yeah.
However,
is it a cooking show?
No.
Okay.
However, it is shot very much that mimics like anime scenes and
Kung Fu
like
Hustle?
That. Yeah, kind of like that. Like a lot of expressions and cuts and everything are very reminiscent of anime. Anyway, the premise is you have Kantaro. He is a modern day man living in Tokyo. He's an excellent salesman for like a publisher or something, right? And he's like their top guy. He's just excellent, and he is so straight laced and like workaholic, and like he is excellent at what he does.
Okay.
And the reason he is so good and so productive is because on his lunch breaks, he gets everything he can done out of the way so that on his lunch breaks, he can go to a different sweet shop in Tokyo to enjoy one of their delicacies.
Okay.
And he has like a blog where he's like Sweet Night or so. I think it's Sweet Night or whatever. And like he writes reviews for these sweets.
Okay.
And he is like infatuated, like obsessed with the sweets, to the point of like obsession. And that's what makes him so good at what he does, because it allows him this hobby in his off time. But in his office, there's a coworker who starts suspecting that he is the Sweets Knight. And so she starts trying to entrap him. And so that is the story of this rather short live action.
Him for
lying, because it's not the persona that he is trying to, like, he's lying about who he is, and she's convinced that like he's doing this on company time and stuff like that. He's not. Gotcha. He does things very, very straight laced. So like, but he probably shouldn't be doing this on his lunchtime. Like,
right.
So
do it after work.
And so that's the story that goes through. But here's the other thing. It's like it's that, and it's comedy. That it's got comedic elements. But it's also a bit of a food show, because in every episode, he goes into depth about this particular sweet from this particular shop,
right?
How they make it. There's like slow-mo glory shots of them making this whole thing. They're all real. They're all real shops in Tokyo.
Interesting.
And, every single episode is like a love letter to this specific dessert.
Right.
And
then it's bookended with like this faux.
Yes. With like this faux story, but it's bringing you to real places in Tokyo, at least in the time of production, highlighting their signature dessert.
That sounds so bizarre.
It's so strange. It's so odd.
Just do a show about highlighting sweet shops,
but it's like so weird, but it's so fun, and it's like
so
delightful.
It's so like Japan.
It's very Japan, and I haven't read. It's based on a manga, okay, which blows me away. And then you'll see juxtapositions of like the manga scene and then the anime, or not the live action. Yeah. And it's like, wow, they really went out of their way to really capture this thing. But like, honest to God, it's a lot of fun to watch.
All right,
it's more fun probably in a group of people. I watched most of it in a group. It's crazy. It's outlandish. You have to be in the mindset of like, this is silly, but I'm just along for the ride of like this this crazy story of this man and this incredibly improbable situation, and then just like appreciate the food and the stuff that he goes over.
Yeah.
And like, you know what? There's like 10 episodes and like 7 of the desserts to me look inedible because there's like beans in them and stuff like that. And it's just not what I think of.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But he describes them with like
10 episodes
such
and
care.
7 of the desserts look inedible.
Yeah, like honestly, I always get excited when he goes like, "Oh, this place does the best French desserts in Tokyo." Like this is an Eclair episode. I'm like, "Fucking yeah!" And it's like, "Oh, this episode is like the bean parfait." And I'm like,
This one's the
there's like a lot of sweet syrups, sweet
mung beans and crickets.
and like gelatin cubes and stuff like that. Things that aren't my alley. But those episodes are still really funny.
Yeah.
So it's weird, it's wacky, it's crazy. If you're in the mood for like a serious comedy or like a romantic romp, this isn't for you. But if you're just in the mood to like be silly and be funny and kind of follow along and like at the end of an episode be like, what
did I just watch?
Then I would recommend Kantaro, the sweet tooth salary man. Only sweet heaven knows. That's
his catchphrase.
That's his catchphrase. That's
his sign off.
Yeah.
Only nice.
Sweet heaven knows.
There you go. Sketch. You gonna take anything from this episode?
Yes, I am taking one thing with a bit of a caveat.
Okay.
After a thorough cleaning.
Okay.
I'm taking Patience Phillips' Artist Loft because it is unheard of in its size and scope.
Yes.
And just beauty. Like you'd expect her to have this tiny little shoebox of an apartment.
Right. Good call.
And it is swanky.
She was well paid at her job.
Yes.
Yes.
But it needs like a
thorough cleaning.
Like I assume there's cat hair everywhere, which I got to get rid of.
Yeah.
And then there's like just fish smell all over the place. Very weird.
Yeah.
But that should hopefully keep the rent down. And there you go. That's what I'm taking. What are you going to take, Shades?
Nothing.
Not a goddamn thing. Not even this beauty cream?
Not a goddamn thing.
Not even... Yeah, there's really nothing else.
Nope. I'm good.
She has a motorcycle for a hot second.
Yeah. I don't count it as hers.
No. Oh, no. She stole it.
Yeah.
She stole that motorcycle.
And
that is not hers.
It's gone almost immediately.
Yeah. Nothing happens to it. It just never shows up again.
Never shows up again.
Yeah.
Somebody from the crew drove off with it. Probably Pete off.
Well, yeah. This is how he got everything he wanted. That was his apartment. Well,
they're gonna have to evict him.
I am happy that we finally did Catwoman. So
yes.
I do not need to watch it again.
Third time. Longtime listeners, if you love this movie, write in. Let us know why.
Yeah, honestly, let us know why.
Yeah.
Because if it's speaking to somebody,
I want to know.
I want to know that.
I want to know what I missed.
And I won't be like, well, you're an idiot. I'll just be like,
dumb.
Huh. I hadn't thought of it from that way.
I legitimately want to know if somebody out there is like, oh, I fucking love this movie. I mean, I found it so...
68% of you Google users out there love this movie.
Yeah, if you're one of those Google reviewers.
Oh, okay. Please do not write in, though, if it's just Halle Berry's leather outfit. If that's your only reason.
Yeah, if you're like Halle Berry's so hot and so sexy, like, please don't run it. Right.
Yeah, okay. We already got that. We don't need your input on that.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're like, no, this
really
tells the
like
compelling story of patience, and it tells the story that all of us face. Like, okay,
I don't think you're out there.
Yeah, I don't think you're out there either.
But yeah,
prove us wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Prove us wrong.
Prove us wrong.
Yep.
Thanks for potting with me, Sketch.
Yeah, always a good time.
Always. It's good to be back in the GOCO.
Even with
if we find something to geek out about, even if it's like how bonkers this movie is.
Yeah.
Long time listeners, our metrics, our data shows that while many of you listen and like our experience, not many of you are subscribed to the show.
What the what?
I know current trends in listening and it kind of, you can watch and follow and get updates without being subscribed, but subscribing plays with the all-important algorithm. It's what gets us in rotation when next episodes come up for recommendations, because someone likes a show similar to ours. If you're subscribed to it, it will put it in front of them. It'll put us in between their ears, which is the goal. So if you were listening to the show, but you're not following or liked or subscribed based on the platform that you're listening to, please smash that subscribe button. It makes the difference in the metrics of the show and getting the word of our show out to the masses. Also, if you're inclined, it's not free to make this show, but we don't like taking products from things that we don't believe in. You can head over to our Patreon, where we're working hard, giving you exclusive content, some real gems coming your way.
Yeah.
You may have already heard one, but you can support the show for $5. That's it. And you get all kinds of cool exclusive content.
And the Patreon episodes go over things that like don't really fit into an episode.
Yes.
But they're still like
they're
things we're geeking out over.
Yeah, we geek out hard over them, but it just doesn't fit necessarily fit the format of
our show,
of an episode for the show, or it's somehow disconnected from the main line continuity that we're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, but if you could do that, that'd be the real cat's meow.
Ouch.
That was a good one.
We almost made it.
I had so many more cat puns, and I was like, you know what?
Just gonna let him go.
Gonna let him go. This movie doesn't deserve my cat puns.
Scratch that itch.
Not gonna scratch that itch. What's that?
Boy.
Catnip. Oh, gross. When she takes the ball of catnip and just like rubbing it all over her face.
So not okay.
Again, that's a time where you say like, whoa, that was weird. Why did I do that?
Right. And also like, wow, Halle Berry, you went all in.
How many women do you think crazy old Catwoman killed by pushing them off of her stairs until she found a Catwoman? Probably how she's feeding her cats.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
That's the test. That's the one test.
Right.
Bring you up to the top of the balcony. Push you off. There's so much falling in this movie.
I'm telling you, like 1992, Little Piece Off saw Batman Returns and like, oh, that's how you make a Catwoman.
You have to fall and you get breathed in by a cat. When you're dead.
When you're dead. Or as you're dying.
Yeah. You sure you don't want to bring cat breath with you?
Oh, boy. No, nothing.
Okay.
I want nothing from this experience
other
than the joy of talking about it right now.
It was joy. It was a joy.
Longtime listeners, thank you so much. And with that,
we'll see you next time. If you'd like to take a more active role in supporting Geeking Out, visit us at patreon.com/shadesansketch.
Our website is shows.acast.com/geekingout.
You can email the show at gowithshadesansketch@gmail.com or contact us through Facebook or Twitter.
Geeking Out is a production of Tree Cave Creative, LLC. All rights reserved. 2022.